This is Live Life Well with Dr. Jennifer Baker, and we are talking kind of a holiday theme, but this could be something that you could put in your life year-round.
Yes, yes. I mean, the holidays often mean that we're going to be spending more time with our adult children, or we will see them. And so then that brings up the whole topic of adult relationships.
Yes.
Yes.
So at some point, you're expecting your children
Yes.
to be on their own. They spread their wings and they fly from the nest.
Right.
And they come back, but they don't bring back problems. That's not always the case,
Sometimes
though.
they bring back laundry.
Well, yes. I'm about to have that happen any minute now.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And so often when they come home, they may have concerns, and this could be your adult children with children. I mean, they're talking to you about their life, problems they're having with their children or at work or with their finances or whatever. And the first inclination of a parent of an adult child is to give advice. And I'm going to suggest that that's not the best approach.
You don't give advice?
No, no. There's a lot better way that you can handle that and probably influence your child in a more positive direction.
So why don't you give advice?
Well, because they're likely to reject it. Or if you give them advice and it doesn't work, then it's going to be your fault. Or they're then listening to a voice outside their head telling them what to do, as opposed to thinking, is this good for me? Would the outcome be good for me?
Right. So
Yeah.
what do you do instead? You just listen?
Well, you first listen, but with empathy. And so you want to say things like, oh, wow, oh yeah, I remember when you didn't sleep through the night, or I remember when you had tantrums, or I remember when your mom and I couldn't pay the electric bill, or I remember when I couldn't get along with my boss. But in your head, you're saying those things to yourself, and you're doing lots of, oh, wow, that sounds difficult. A lot of that. So let them know that you're listening.
Okay.
Okay, and then you say to them, what do you think you are going to do?
About it, or just what do you think you're going to do?
What are you going to do about whatever that problem is?
Right.
How do you think you're going to handle it? What kind of approach are you going to take? Anything that puts the ball back in their court, how are you going to handle it? Now, this is really good because this sends the message of like, I have confidence in your ability to handle this situation. So it's telling them, I'm really interested in your ideas and how you're going to handle this. So, okay.
That's great advice. Sounds really easy, but in practice,
It's hard. It's so hard. But remember, you're still keeping that loving, I'm interested in you, listening approach. And then you're going to say, would you like some ideas? So before you give any advice, you give permission to give them some ideas. Would you like some ideas, or do you think you pretty well have this handled? Now, I mean, I bet you and I all remember times that people gave us advice and we didn't really want their advice.
Yeah.
And they told us what we needed to do, and in our head it's like, I just needed you to listen. I know what to do.
Yeah.
So you want to sidestep that by saying,
but I'm Dad. I know more than you do.
Yeah. Of course you do. But, so this is your chance. So they might say, no, I pretty much got it handled, and then let it go. All right?
Okay.
And you could say, oh, I'll be interested to see how that works out.
Right.
But if they say, well, sure, yeah, then don't give your best idea first. Give some bad idea. Well, some people just yell back at the boss. How do you think that will work? Or, I don't know, some people just let the kid cry it out. How do you think that will work? So some people just, figure it takes 60 days for your electricity to be turned off, your utilities. So what do you think, how do you think that'll, you give some ideas, and you're going to give some good ideas, but you don't give your best idea first. Why do you think you don't do that?
Because the first one might be rejected.
Right.
Okay.
And they know, I mean, here's the thing. if they know that you're going to give your best idea and you're heavily invested in that idea, some, even adult children, will do it just because they want to please you. And that's not a good approach.
Right.
You want them to think, will this actually work for me? I'm taking ownership of the situation. And if they're trying to do what you want them to do just so you'll give them money or something else, that's not usually a very good approach.
Now, when we're talking about adult children,
Yes.
I'm thinking 20s.
20s. But I mean, as a therapist with more than 3 decades of experience, I'm talking 30s, 40s, 50s. If you get it right in their 20s, it's much less likely to happen when they're 30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, if you're still bailing your kid out when he or she is 30, 40, 50, there may be a problem.
And say you do have that 50-year-old who's coming to you, and you would have to be probably at least 70, 75.
Probably.
So you're really wanting to be retired and have less of this kind of stress. How, at 70 or 75, how do you, this is a lifelong thing, how do you correct the course?
Well, I mean, better late than never. Because you say to yourself, look, I'm not going to be around forever. And how is this child of mine going to take care of themselves when I'm not here?
And then the holidays, that adds a whole extra layer of complication.
And I'm not saying don't give gifts to your children. I'm not saying don't be kind to your children, don't have fun with your children. I'm just talking about not rescuing your children. And we need to be very thoughtful about that when they need to learn to take responsibility for themselves. And during the holidays, there's more likelihood that they're going to tell you about their problems or their concerns, or you'll have more time together. So you show interest, show empathy, ask them how they're going to handle it. If they seem stuck, you can ask them if they want ideas. You can offer them ideas, but then with every idea, you always want to say, well, how do you think that will work? And then you want to summarize the conversation by saying, I'm looking forward to hearing how this works out for you. Let's stay in touch about this.
So if you're at the say it's Christmas and you're having Christmas dinner, and you're talking about rescue. Rescue means in terms of fixing the problem, giving them money. Is that how we're defining rescue?
Yeah, rescue is doing something for them that they would be better off doing for themselves.
Okay.
Because they're going to learn something valuable by doing it for themselves.
Even if they're 50?
Even if they're 50, yeah.
Yeah. So they present a problem to you. Don't rush in. Don't fix it.
Right.
I can help you with money.
No. Show a lot of love and concern for them. You're always going to love them. Of course you are. But if you try to fix a problem that they're not working on very hard themselves, they're not going to learn to think, maybe I better not use that credit card. Maybe I could get along with less. Maybe I ought to stay out of that relationship.
And I imagine that's hard to do. If you're sitting around, it's Christmas, I'm in the Christmas spirit, I love my children, and they've presented me with a problem. Yeah. Is it really love, though? You're saying it's not really love.
Give them nice socks, sweater. It's not really love when we rescue someone, we do something for them they could do themselves, because then they don't learn to do that. And you cannot control how long you will be around and be able to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to think about it. A lot of people don't want to think about it, but if you're 70 or 75, the chances you're going to be around for another 50 years, not good.
No, not another 50 years. And then also, I think that our responsibility as older adults is to take care of ourselves so that we are not a burden to our children.
That's another way to put it. Another way to think about it.
Yes. That we do have a responsibility, if we are at all able, to take care of ourselves so we don't burden our children with our care. Also, you got to say, if my 50-year-old or 45-year-old cannot manage their life, what are the chances that they're going to be able to care for me?
Not good.
Not good. Not good.
And the parent may need the child to help with care at some point.
Right.
Yeah. So you see this often? Does this ramp up at Christmas time?
Well, I mean, you've got to realize that I'm a therapist, so.
Okay.
And specializing in couples and families, so yeah, I do see this probably more often. But I bet we all know someone that maybe has, and you see this in the Christmas letters and cards that you get, you see some of these concerns. So I have a great deal of empathy because I know it's very hard. We love our children very much, but we have to think about what's most loving for them. Much as if we take them to get medical care when they were children and we knew it was going to hurt, but we still did it because we love them. We also did other things for them that they didn't like make them go to bed on time or do their homework or whatever. Sometimes we still have to follow through with these things when they get older.
Yeah, that, you know, they have strep throat, but you got to go get the test, and you know they hate the test, and the doctor or PA is going to stick the thing and swab, and you know they're going to be mad at you, but this is the way you get over the strep throat. Yeah, so it's the same sort of thing.
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any advice for people at that Christmas dinner?
You know, I'm just going to say that I am a strong believer in lifelong learning. So I'm going to say that you can learn to interact differently with your children, and they can learn too. And this does not mean that you can't buy them new socks or a sweater or something. You can still be very loving to them and have your nicest voice and your most interested tone of voice, but you're not giving them stuff.
To fix
the problem.
The problem.
To fix the problem.
Yeah.
You're not rescuing them.
Yeah. All right.
Okay?
Well, thank you for joining us
welcome.
on this Live Life Well. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
I hope you don't have this happen at your dinner.
I don't think so.
No. I'm going to have laundry up here at my house.
Well, yeah.
And I'm going to let her do the laundry.
That's good.
All right.